afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Out on the Ranch with Dr. Lee. And a happy 4th of July to you guys today. It is a hot Texas afternoon. It's a little bit afternoon right now, and it's already well into the 80s and going to probably creep up to pretty close to 100 today. But you can probably tell I've got the wind sock. They call it a dead cat. We veterinarians don't call it a dead cat. I've got the wind sock on the microphone on the camera, so hopefully it's cutting a little bit of the wind out. But on the other hand, the wind's going to keep it fairly tolerable out here today because it's a pretty good breeze. Anyway, I hope you're having a nice day wherever you live, and I hope you guys are safely enjoying your 4th of July. Like I said, it's kind of hot, and I really did not want to come out here and do a video today, but I had something that just kept eating at me today, and I couldn't really squelch it any longer. It just kept working on me and working on me and working on me. And basically what it was is this feeling of America. And you know, I'm becoming an old dude, and things like this become, I don't know if they become more important, but they become more obvious as we age. The things that are more important kind of come to the top a little bit easier than they used to when we were younger people and we had all the other stuff going on. But I started thinking about America today and all our rich history. I started thinking about family, and the craziest thing, one of my aunts and uncles who have been deceased for years and years and years were the first things that popped into my head. And they were the things that I could not get out of my head, the things that kept eating on me until I finally said, all right, I'm gonna go make that video. So anyway, I'm gonna tell you a little story today, and I hope I don't bore you too bad. It's a story about family, and I know family's very important to most of you guys. So here we go. I had an aunt and uncle who were unable to have children. And geographically, they live very close to us. So, especially my biggest sister, but also my little sister, my younger sister to a certain extent. She was 10 years younger than my older sister and I. But this aunt and uncle pretty much took us in as their kids too. Not that my parents were bad parents and didn't have enough time for us. It's like we had two sets of parents. And this aunt and uncle, they really loved us. And my uncle really wanted a son. He was one of those tough guys. He was a big football player in high school. He was a big baseball player in high school. He was not a big man, but obviously he was fast and probably agile and gifted with talents. And he was a fabulous athlete. He was also a World War II veteran. He was a big-time hunter. In World War II, he was a radio man, and he was all over Europe on the front lines as a radio operator. And unlike Uncle Floyd, he didn't want to talk about it at all. Nobody had ever pushed him. He had this big chest full of medals in the closet, and my aunt would bring it out and show it to us, but my Uncle Carl never would. But he was an awesome man. Like I said, he was kind of a little bit gruff. I loved him, but I was always a little bit intimidated by him. He always took me hunting. And he was a big hunter, and he showed me gun safety. He taught me gun safety just like my own dad did. So I got a double dose of gun safety and hunting tips and all that. But he was a big sports fan. I remember watching baseball games on TV with him, and I remember one time Liberace came on a commercial, and I don't know what he was selling, but my uncle, being this big gruff guy and seeing Liberace there, he looked over at me and he said, "Lee, do you want to be like that boy when you grow up?" And I didn't really understand the question, but I knew the answer I needed to give, and I just said, "No, Uncle Carl, I don't." And he said, "Well, you know what's wrong with that boy?" And I said, "No, sir, what?" And he said, "He didn't eat his green beans." That's the kind of uncle he was. He was the uncle that let me drink beer when I was 13, 14 years old with him. He was the uncle who taught me how to drive a car when I was probably 5 or 6 years old. He had this great big blue Buick, and he would always grab me and set me behind the steering wheel, and away we would go. No seat belts back then. God only knows how I lived through it. But good old Uncle Carl, he gave me this rifle. This is a Winchester Model 62. It's a 22. It's a pump rifle. It'll shoot 22 longs or 22 long rifles. It still works like a champ. It's accurate as it can be. And every time I pick this rifle, you can tell it's got water damage on there. No telling where that happened. But this is one of those things in life. Every time I pick this up, excuse me, I can feel Uncle Carl. I can feel his hands around mine right now. And that's a cool thing. I know a lot of people don't like guns, but in Texas, this is heritage. These things are passed down, you know, from family to family to family. And to me, this epitomizes my Uncle Carl. So I'll cherish this forever. My kids will cherish it forever. They'll have it forever too. You know, my family's pretty much a gun family. And that's my Uncle Carl in a nutshell. He was a sweet man. He was a stern man. He was an American. He fought for us. He almost died for us. We have our freedom. We have our country. And to me, that's what America is. It's not the Washington Monument. It's not our congressmen and senators and all the people we elect to all these places. That's not America. We're America. You're America. I'm America. Your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, and all the people they descended from here in this country. That's what America is. That's what we're celebrating today. Moving over to my aunt. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Every time we would get together, even when I was a full-grown man, we had to sing this song. And one of us would sing, "I love you," and the other one would sing, "I love you," and then both of us would sing, "And we love each other." And it didn't matter if you went in, we called her Auntie, her name was Margarite, but if you went into Auntie's house, you're gonna have to sing that damn song sooner or later. We tried to avoid it as kids, but you know how kids are. But anyway, she was just the sweetest thing. She was more of a grandmother than an aunt, or maybe somewhere between a mother and a grandmother. But she took care of us like we were hers, and she was the dearest person. And I always remember being at their house. They were very, very frugal. They lived in the same little bitty house my entire life, almost their entire life. They are both gone now. My Uncle Carl died in 1995. My aunt died, I think, in 2003. And they were old at that time. They lived good lives. Unfortunately, they didn't have any kids, so we tried to be the kids, and we tried to always be cognizant of the fact that they were there and they were lonely, and we tried to be there for them. But my aunt, like I said, they were very frugal, and they only had one set of dishes their entire life, and I was always fascinated by their dishes. And we ate on the same, when we were at their house, we ate on the same set of dishes every meal. And it's the only set of dishes they had. And when my aunt got older and got put into a nursing home, she asked me if there was anything I'd like to have. And I said, "I'd love to have the dishes, Auntie." And she said, "They're yours." So, here they are. I'm sure a lot of you people out there that know a lot about China. This is Mason's China, and it's called Vista, and they make a blue version and they make a maroon version, and you would think an Aggie like me would like the maroon version best. But I remember eating on these back when I was a kid, and I remember looking at those ornate designs on there and just wondering who those people are and where they are. But I just thought these things were fabulous. And I'm kind of a rough redneck guy too, but I love these things. I don't know why. I still like looking at them all these years later. But you know, these things, they kind of remind me. I was thinking about this today. I told my wife, she said, "What are you doing with all that stuff?" And of course I got you better be careful with the China, with Auntie's China. And she said, "What are you doing with all that stuff?" And I said, "I'm making a video." And she said, "You got a rifle and you've got China. Are you going to go out there and shoot? Yeah, what the hell's going on?" And I said, "I really don't know." I said, "But these things are important to me. America's important to me. And you know, I started thinking about parables, and I was thinking about how fragile our country is today. I started thinking about how fragile that China is. It used to be tough, it used to be strong, and now it's old, and there's a million cracks that run through it, a million divisions, just like what we see in our country today. So I thought, there's a message there. I don't know how to end it, but I think you can kind of see that too. And I guess it's a message that we need to be stronger in holding all the pieces together. And what's the pieces? You and me, all of us. We are the pieces of America. And how do you hold stuff like that together? You do it with love. You do it with respect. You do it with compassion. And that's the way this country was built. So, all right. Now, I did not tell you early on in this video the number one thing that made me think of my aunt and my uncle. She gave me one more thing, and it's a precious thing. She gave me this old flag. She gave me this tattered old faded flag. They were a different breed of cat than what you and I are. They were a different breed of cat than what roams the streets today. At their house, this flag flew every 4th of July. It flew every February 12th, Abraham Lincoln's birthday. It flew every February 22nd, George Washington's birthday. Armistice Day. Every national holiday, this old flag flew. And it's faded now, and it's worn thin, and it's ragged, but it still symbolizes America. And our country's old. In some instances, we're pretty dang ragged. Some of the things that used to be strong are pretty faded these days, but we're still America, and we all need to remember that. That's my family lesson today. I know this was a pretty weird video, and it's been a fairly emotional one for me to bring all these memories up that were so dear, that are so etched into my heart. But when I started living through all these memories today, trying to figure out what kind of video I'm going to make, that's when I realized what America really is. I don't know that I ever really came to that conclusion in my head on my own. I kind of knew it, but I never really thought about it that way. And that's what America is. It's my Aunt Margarite and my Uncle Carl. It's my Uncle Floyd. It's your aunts, your uncles, your grandfathers. It's all of us people. We are America. So America, on this day forward, I'm going to try to remember to be more of the glue that holds these old plates together. I'm going to try to be a little bit better of an American. And if we all pitch in, be a little bit more forgiving, be a little bit more cognizant of each other's rights, respect each other, and love each other, we will have an America that will stand forever. That's it. That's it from out on the ranch today. Didn't mean to come preaching, but it just kind of happened. So Americans, thanks a lot for tuning in to Out on the Ranch with Dr. Lee today. As always, I love your comments. I appreciate all your kindness and all your sweet words. And I thank you for stopping by to say hi. You guys take care. Y'all have a wonderful 4th of July. And as always, remember I love you. You guys take care. See you soon. Bye-bye. So what you doing there, Al?
Neutering a dog, Dad.
All right. Who's going to learn you?
That's a mistake.